the way into Syracuse for open-heart surgery. Commander Grace had called him from I-81, worried not about making it to the hospital, but about whether there would be a Santa for this year's fundraiser. And he, fool that he was, had said he'd handle finding a replacement. Except everyone he talked to was already committed to something this weekend, and somehow he'd ended up being the one in the suit. A suit that was far too small, smelled vaguely of mothballs, and had probably seen better decades. But he was here to do his duty. "I'm supposed to see Mr. MacNally," he told the elf, who was still looking up at him expectantly. "That would be me. Call me Teddy, though. Everyone does." Another broad grin. And, of course, Mr. Casual was a Teddy. Despite his small stature and baby face, he had to be at least 25 since he was the director of this charity. Far too old and in charge to be a Teddy. "Who's the one taking the pictures?" He was eager to get this show on the road. "That would be my cousin Rhonda." He beckoned over a younger woman with similar curly blonde hair. "She works for the paper. She's got several locations scouted out already. I thought you might like to start with a little tour of our facilities, get you up to speed on what we stand for, maybe get you more in the spirit of things." That wasn't possible, as Nick didn't have an ounce of holiday spirit left, if he'd ever had any to begin with. But he wasn't out to be rude, so he nodded. "You've got me for the day." "Excellent!" Another megawatt smile, this one worthy of a dental ad, all perfectly gleaming white teeth and wide, full lips. He really shouldn't be noticing MacNally's mouth, full or otherwise. He wasn't here to get sidetracked by pouty perfection. One more month, he reminded himself. One more month at Fort End, which ironically really was the end for him. End of the line. The Army's refusal to let him re-up, bringing a 28-year career to a halt at the nation's most remote, northernmost outpost, a place that often felt like the end of the earth, far removed from his desert deployments and years stationed in Hawaii, California, and other warm states. He still wasn't exactly happy about the Army's decision to go all in on a reduction in forces, but he had a pretty sweet plan B waiting for him if he could just make it through this last month. 1 month, and he'd be in Florida, on a boat, no Santa suit in sight, no obligations or distractions. Why that vision kept making his chest hurt, he didn't know. It might be the Army's call, but he'd worked nearly 3 decades to earn the military retirement coming to him. By this time in January, he'd have his own place on the ocean and a partnership with his old Army buddy, who did boat day trips for tourists and made himself a nice little living. And there would be no snow in sight. 10 months here had been more than enough for him. Even the summer had been unbearable, all muggy and humid with mosquitoes everywhere, and only 2 really good months before fall hit. And now the weather people were calling for a big storm this weekend. Not even Thanksgiving, and they were already talking snow days. No, Florida would be far preferable to any more time at Fort End. "So, we're a multi-purpose resource center here to serve primarily the low-income folks of the village and surrounding towns." MacNally had an unusually energetic speaking voice, all full of bright inflection and exclamation points where a simple pause might do. "We have a food pantry, clothing closet, heating and electric bill assistance, holiday giving tree for kids, and offer a variety of workshops and classes, ranging from parenting topics to food preservation to budgeting." MacNally took him through the large, airy lobby with older couches that managed to look both well-loved and inviting. Like the exterior of the building, the room was colorful with a children's play area and library tucked into the far corner. From there he followed MacNally down a hallway as he pointed out the clothing closet full of warm coats looking for homes, the offices where caseworkers met one-on-one with families, and a meeting room for workshops. Nick tried to make approving noises as MacNally prattled on and on about the work of the resource center. He was relieved when they finally reached the food pantry that took up the rear of the building. He was trying to listen to MacNally talk about balanced meals and perishable items when he spotted a slight teenage boy struggling under the weight of a huge case of canned goods. The case tottered precariously, and acting without thinking, Nick lunged to save it from landing on the kid's feet. Rip! An awful, foreboding sound happened at the exact instant he steadied the case. He immediately felt a draft on his ass, where there had previously been...